I'm not Piers Morgan. I'm not trying to trick everyone all the time. My mission is to help as many people on this planet get better financial knowledge. The only thing that can move me away from that is my own death.
Rob Moore's built an incredible multi-million-pound training business. He's developed over 3 million followers. He's authored almost 20 books, and he's constantly pushing the boundaries.
Why do you have to sacrifice money for happiness? Why can't you be happy and have money? You know when people say, this is my last chance. No, it's not. Only your last day on this earth is your last chance. If I said to you, name the 5 top money gurus in the world, you might think Martin Lewis. I want to know how to save 12p. I want to know how to make 12 million. You need to switch your thinking from working hard to working smart.
This interview comes with a serious warning. Extreme passion and raw honesty, also that you can face the fear and leverage the greatest force in success in your world.
A lot of people resist their own purpose because they're scared to fail. If what's stopping you is money, you need to expand your thinking. When you were a kid, you probably played Monopoly. And the one that was easiest to cheat was the banker, because it was dealing with all the money. And life is like Monopoly. The banks are just the bankers.
Some of Rob's friends are Grant Cardone and David Goggins. Prepare to see what it takes to live life on the edge with Rob Moore. Let's do this.
If you had a gun to my head and you're like, Rob, what's the one thing? It's I'm really thankful for the people who call me a fat because that helped me. People don't realise the power in that because people are always trying to avoid that pain.
Welcome to the BizX Podcast, sharing with you all of the secrets and winning formulas in both business and life, with powerful lessons from guests like Frank Bruno, Nick Jenkins, Brad Sugars, Bianca Westwood, and many, many more. Yet, the sad reality is that over 80% of you aren't subscribed yet. And if that's you, hit the subscribe button now and help us grow this channel so that you can get 1% closer every single week to achieving your dreams in both business and life. Let's do this.
I'm the kind of guy that when I'm all in, I'm all in. So, I love Patek Philippe and, Audemars Piguet and just buy them all. I'm the easiest person to sell to. And I love supercars and I've got loads. And I'm like, I commit here and now to Alexander McQueen. Like, if there's anyone alive or dead I could interview, it would be Alexander McQueen. I've done 1,000 episodes. Because it's the story as well as the brand. The story of the struggling artist who made it, who struggled with all the challenges of life that we all do, who left an amazing legacy, yet in the end life got the better of him. And at times I'm like, man, life's throwing shit at me. Can I win today? And I do, but just a story just like really, really hit me. So that's why I wear these weird clothes.
Just watching you and observing you, and the listeners and viewers are going to watch that. There's definite edge to you. There's a drama to how you're saying all of that, and it's not false neither. I think this is just you. What you see is what you get.
Well, where do you get the most exhilaration? In the middle or on the edge? If you're in the middle of a cruise ship, that's different from that scene in Titanic when they're both cuddling right on the edge at the front. There they are in love. So you get all the emotion and the experience on the edges, not in the middle.
How do you know that you're on the edge?
When you're scared. They say, don't they, that excitement and fear is virtually the same emotion, if not the same emotion. That's probably when you're on the edge, when you're like, this could be huge or this could fail. A lot of my marketing launches, a lot of my guests, I'm on the edge. This could be huge. I could get cancelled. So that's when you're on the edge. And, when you're changing people's lives and you're getting haters. A lot of people are like, I don't want any haters, so I'm not going to put content out there. Oh, I'm not going to mention that. Oh, I'm not going to talk about that. And so the problem, avoiding the haters means they never get the raving fans. Because the raving fan is the opposite of the hater. And to attract one, you have to attract the other.
Did you always embrace having the haters, or did you have to learn that?
Yeah, I had to learn it. I hated having haters.
When?
Oh, my whole life. I avoided any conflict. I used to be the fattest.
Until?
Mid-30s, maybe? I'm 45 now.
Yeah.
Maybe early 30s. It goes in stages. If Vladimir Putin went on live TV and hated on me, I would feel that. It's not like I'm completely immune. Because that might be broadcast to 1 billion people, and with one drop of poison in one glass of water, he could wipe me out. Whereas, you know, the millions of people that follow me, if I have 1,000 hateful comments, go f yourself, I don't care. And I really don't. In fact, thank you, because at least you commented. I'd rather someone hates me and comments than likes me and doesn't. Because the algorithms love the haters.
So, all right, so they're helping you.
Yeah, which is ironic, because they're pissed off, I trigger them, they hate their life, they rant at me on social media, and then they're helping me, and they think they're hurting me. like who'd want to be a hater?
But there's a mind shift to go through to accepting that as well, isn't there? So before your early 30s, you said, I think I did a bit of research. 31, you became a millionaire, is that right?
Yeah, just the reason I know it was 31 because I was pissed off that it wasn't still in my. I wanted to hit it by 30, and it was like 30.8 or 31.1 or whatever. I don't remember the exact day, but yeah, it was before the age of 31, but after the age of 30 because that pissed me off.
That's all right. Got you moving still.
Well,
you turned it into determination.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 45 now, so it doesn't matter now, does it? It's just nice to have goals.
And then you're pretty proud of the fact that you helped your mum and dad off the back of becoming a millionaire.
Well, I mean, I'm way more proud of that than becoming a millionaire. There are 15 million millionaires in the world. How many people have retired their parents and given them full retirement, buy their house, buy their car, pay for, you know, anything they need, give them work when they want it, let them not work when they don't? Not 15 million people. So is
that right? There's only 15 million millionaires in the world.
Yeah.
In the world?
Yeah.
50. Oh my God! I mean, apparently 98% of stats are made up, but
yeah. Well,
anyway,
always do your research.
It's a surprisingly small amount. Yeah.
We should Siri the phone. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm pretty sure it's definitely not 15 billion, is it?
We don't need to Siri the phone. Everyone listening right now, just get on Siri and add the comment in, please. Put the comment onto.
If I'm out by a bit, correct me.
Yeah. Just correct us and help the algorithm.
Yeah, thank you. And mate, I'm pretty sure, because I researched that for my book Money in 2017, but, you know, sometimes I'm 45, sometimes the memory isn't spot on. But that surprises you that it's not that many. If it's not 15 million, it's not many more. It is a low amount.
It is
something
like
0.001 or something like that. So super rare to be a millionaire. But anyone could be, as long as they've got the internet and information, and they've got sanitary, you know, they've got healthcare and clean water. A lot of people in, you know, the developing poor world haven't got that. But anyone in the first world, the Western society, no excuse not to be one. None at all. Unless you don't want to be one, which is fine. If you don't want to be a millionaire, probably don't listen to me.
Do you know, you might know this, you've probably listened to Jim Rohn a number of times. There's a phrase that he uses that he says, becoming a millionaire is a good goal. Not for the money, because of all that you'll become in becoming a millionaire, because of everything that you'll become on the way.
Well, I think probably that could be said for virtually everything. Any goal you achieve or any good deed that you do, you have to go through a journey to achieve that. And once your brain knows how to do it, it can't unlearn it. So, yeah, that, you know, when people say it's about the journey, not the destination, well, it's about both. Let's be honest. You can't take away one. Oh, I just want to go on the journey to be a millionaire, but I actually don't want to be one. I just want to go on the journey. No, I want to be one as well.
Yeah.
So it's about the journey and the destination. And then when you get to the destination, it's about the new journey and the new destination.
I do like the phrase that a man who enjoys walking always walks further than a man who enjoys the destination.
Yeah.
And the point there is enjoy the process, but your point is actually enjoy both.
Yeah. Well, this is what people do. They say this is right and that is wrong. This is good and this is bad. This is the way and this is not the way. It's not the reality. Being a millionaire is great because you can travel where you want, when you want. You can take time off work. You probably work for yourself. If someone's ill, you can pay for them. You know, I've saved people's lives because they've needed 10 grand or 20 grand for an emergency operation. There it is on the table, done. Friends of mine that I went to school with. My sister, I paid for her, she had to have a kidney removed. She was on death's door. She had sepsis. Bang, it's done. So it's amazing to have those gifts being a millionaire. But when you're a millionaire, you get targeted. I've had people track my cars, target me. You know, I've had stalker. More than one proper one. And there's downsides. And, you know, when you're a millionaire, you've got things that can be stolen. No one's targeting you when you're a zeroer. But the thing I found is everything has downsides. So which downsides do I want? Do I want a problem of 7 supercars or a problem of having to walk? I'll take the problem of 7 supercars. Got to insure them, got to maintain them. I broke down in my Lamborghini in a roundabout in Peterborough, and it went absolutely viral, and everyone stopped and was wah and all this, and it just went completely viral. That wouldn't have happened if I was in a Mini, but I was the only one in the Lamborghini. They were all anchoring me in their Fords. So I will take those downsides because I love the upsides of, people think that money doesn't make you happy, but there's a saying, I can't remember who told this to me. Money isn't everything, but everything is better with money.
Yeah.
And I think that, I know that to be the case because I've been broke. Everything is worse without money. Everything is better with money. Let's say I'm broke, I can't even get a taxi. I'm coming to see you, I'm 5 minutes late. It's pissing it down. I'm broke, I have to walk. And I turn up here and I'm soaked and I'm late and you're annoyed. Whereas you can get a stretch Mercedes in Uber that gets there in 1 minute, and I could almost get here on time and get here relaxed and do a bit of work in the back of the car for the 5 minutes or 15 minutes.
Gives choices, gives options.
Choices, options, freedom. And people don't value money enough. People get triggered when, Rob's just about the money. And there's more to life than being a millionaire. Money doesn't make you happy. Well, why do you have to sacrifice money for happiness? Or happiness for money? Why can't you be happy and have money?
What else are you about besides money?
Well, I mean, I'm about art and love and life and gratitude and passion and business and entrepreneurship and authoring and content, and being passionate. I'm about all those things, but all of those are better with money. And by the way, there's only really Robert Kiyosaki. If I said to you, name the 5 top money gurus in the world, you might think Robert Kiyosaki, you might think Martin Lewis. He's known in the UK, but he's a money-saving guy.
I wouldn't have chosen.
Okay, name 5 top, only money specifically, not real estate or business, money-specific gurus in the world. Name 5.
Alan Mills.
Okay, don't know him.
Yeah. Keith Cunningham.
Okay, yeah, sort of know him. He's the behind-the-scenes.
Yeah, I'm thinking strategist here.
Yeah.
Sharon Lecter.
Yeah, she's the one that didn't get any of the credit for the Rich Dad Poor Dad books.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm drying up now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm drying up now. But I wouldn't have put Martin Lewis in that bracket.
But a lot of people in the UK will.
Yeah.
But, I want to know how to save 12p. I want to know how to make 12 million.
Yeah.
So the reason I say this is I'm all about money because that's my space and I'm claiming it. I'm 45, so by the time I'm 50, I fully expect to be world famous in helping people get better financial education. The school system is out of date, corrupt when it comes to what we're taught and how we're taught. We're essentially indoctrinated to be hypnotizable, to achieve the goals of a central global government, which is pay the most tax that you possibly can without overthrowing us, pay the most interest you can possibly without overthrowing us, and we'll inflate your money down as much as we can and make trillions out of you without you overthrowing us. Because if they push it to a point where, there's 185,000 people in the greater Peterborough area. If they all raided the council buildings and all the councillors, things would change. But people are too chicken shit. So they push us so hard and take so much out of us, the maximum that they can, and still hold their position. And look, I'm take the moral judgment away. They just know how to make profit. We are the product. They're making a high margin out of us. But I think we should know this as the people who put them in. And
take the moral judgment out of the way, and there's respect there for making money, yeah?
Well, it's a good business model.
Yeah, but
any entrepreneur can respect a good business model. It's just I don't want to be the product. And I think we all have a choice. No, I think we have a right to know how we're monetized. But obviously the system's not going to teach you that, because then if the system teaches you how it makes money out of you, you're going to go, I won't be complicit. I'm going to go do this myself. So I'm grateful, because otherwise there wouldn't be room for people like me to write books on money and educate people properly on how money works.
That's what I'm getting, actually. You're proud of you.
Yeah, well, I've spent a lot of time hating myself when I was growing up, being the fattest kid in my year and being on the outside and not feeling loved and respected. And there's still that child in me, because there's the child in everyone. And you have to sort of connect with that child and try and learn that you are not that child, but learn that actually those things that happened to you growing up, which cause you pain, you don't want that pattern repeating your whole life. So yeah, I spent a lot of time working on myself to like myself and not hate myself. And, I don't feel like I'm a perfect person, and I make mistakes. Something happened this morning, which was an innocent mistake, but I felt some guilt around that. It was a post I put up. I deleted it. Nothing major, I don't have to beat myself up about it. So, I know I do a lot of good in the world. I like myself. I'm not there in loving myself yet. I've got friends who keep saying to me, Rob, you're wonderful. And they do these chants to me to make me, I'm like, no. But yeah, I like my own company, and it's taken a lot of personal development courses and a lot of therapy and a lot of work to actually go, do you know what? I'm all right. I'll tell you what really helps, being good at something. I've helped millions of people across the world, mostly in, UK, Western, English-speaking countries. But, over the 3 million followers and subscribers I have, even if all of them have only listened to one episode each, that's a good reach for a guy from Peterborough. So when you're valuable and helping a lot of people, it's the quickest way to increase your own self-worth. If you feel useless, life's going to be empty. But if you feel useful, I'm ghostwriting a book for someone at the moment. I can't say who, but they are one of the most famous people alive, like in maybe the top 5 most famous people alive currently right now in the world. And I am getting a great sense of fulfillment and achievement and pride by doing a good job for them. And I work for myself, so I only do a good job for me. But, when my clients love my work or they become successful, that feels even better. But I'm thinking this is great because, it feels good to please others. It feels good to help other people. So if anyone's a bit low and a bit lost and they're starting their business and it's a bit hard, just focus on helping one person. If you want to be a coach, yeah, of course you want to have a full practice and, maybe you want to have a big social media and loads of leads coming in. Yeah. But what about just that hour when you're doing the one-to-one? Just really help that one person. Because that's how you start by, you build a house brick by brick. You become a millionaire pound by pound, dollar by dollar, and you help 1 million people one by one. And then once you get to this critical mass of 100 or 1,000, they start quoting you instead of Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins. I have a quote, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. People rip that off all the time. They quote me now, whereas it was always Tony Robbins.
Any other famous quotes that the people are quoting you on?
Well, a lot of it around money, but the main quote of mine is, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. And that's the one that, I've trademarked it. That's the one that gets ripped off the most. But, whenever I talk about money quotes like money isn't everything, but everything is better with money. Money doesn't make me, I make my money. People now say, oh, Rob said. And so once you get to a critical mass, you don't have to be your marketer so much anymore because your fans are your marketer.
When was critical mass for you?
Oh, it's in stages. People always say to me, Rob, what's the turning point?
Yeah.
What was the one moment? I wish there was one because I've had it by now and I'd be exponential.
But just before you answer this, let's just tell the viewers, listeners, what the critical mass is: a point where you put in loads of effort and loads of focus and loads of time into something and you're not getting a lot of return yet, but you're keeping going, and it gets a point where it just all of a sudden accelerates. And what you've said right there is there was loads of points of critical mass. There was several times. Yeah,
there were moments going back that were force multiplier moments. So I remember selling
false multiplier.
Force multipliers.
Oh, right.
10x leverage points.
Mm-hmm.
So when we'd launch our first or second or third book, we'd sell 1,000 or 2,000 copies in the first week. And then it would be 1,000 or 2,000 copies in the first day. And then I remember when I had a 10,000 book sale day, which was Life Leverage in 2016. And so that's like, if you think 10x from previous and 10x from previous. I remember some of my podcast guests that might have got millions of views. When you get your first million view TikTok or YouTube, when you do a launch and you do, you make your first.
That it feels a bit like critical mass at that point.
Well, it's ongoing. Like, I remember wanting to do a 10 grand month, and then wanted to do a 10 grand week, and then wanted to do a 100 grand week, and then doing we've done £1 million month many times now. And we've never done a £10 million month. So that would be our next force multiplier. In my training, I've got property portfolio.
Yeah.
I talk about the training businesses. So there's loads of them, because I think I don't want people to be naive and unrealistic. What most people tend to think is, you work really hard, and then one day, boom, you get your moment. Well, you might get your 5 minutes of fame, and you might have one viral video, but there are plenty of people that have a viral video and they make no money out of it. So I believe I'm always pushing for the next force multiplier, critical mass moment.
Have you learned this through experience, or have you had the right mentors around you on the way?
Both. So as you go, you learn as you go. But I really believe that leverage is the greatest force in success.
What do you mean?
So what I mean is, there's a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And what that means is, how many hours a day can you physically work before you burn out? Some people are like, I do a 100-hour week. Well, actually, there's nothing to be proud of to do a 100-hour week, because it's better for you to do a 10-hour week and have 10 staff doing a 40-hour week. Because then you get 410 hours a week instead of 80 hours a week, wearing like a badge of honor. Look how hard I work. I did that for years. I played that bullshit drum just for ego.
And that was beyond your 30s, when you had your own business as well.
I mean, I still work hard now, but I have 130 staff in my offices and outsourcers, and I want to make sure that my hard work is getting them to work hard. Instead of, if my hard work is me working hard, then I'm the bottleneck to my own growth. Whereas if my hard work is deploying and mobilizing hundreds or thousands of people, and they're all, you should take much more pride and ego and fulfillment out of working a few hours a week, but having hundreds of people working 40 or 50 hours a week. So that's a lever, force multiplier. Having 1 million people on your database is a lever. Having 3 million social media and database followers is a lever. Writing the series of books that Brad did, it must have been 20 years ago now, and getting that out to the masses is a lever. This going out to maybe hundreds of thousands or millions of people is the lever. Everyone's been indoctrinated to work hard, put your head down, work hard, save, build for your future, work hard for 50 years. No, yes, work hard at times. To get a book written, you have to work hard. You can't deny it. But I have a team of researchers that go and research, collators that collate, editors that edit, and then I come in. And then I read the thing, and I inject my own stories and my own personality. If I sat and got the quill out and just started doing, that handwritten from page 1, word 1, it would never get done. So, you need to switch your thinking from working hard to working smart.
Yeah, the leverage is the greatest force in success. Deploy and mobilize. Recruit, deploy and mobilize.
Yeah. Inspire, recruit,
deploy and mobilize.
That's another quote. And then monetize. There you go. We've created a 5-step system.
Let's quote it. Let's trademark it.
All right, then. So what was it?
Inspire, recruit,
yeah,
deploy, mobilize,
monetize.
Yeah. There we go. We've said it again twice.
Yeah.
We'll hold off the recording until it's trademarked, just in case the people are typing in right now.
People have done that to me before. I've come up with an idea for a website, and because I speak in front of thousands of people, and they've just gone and bought the domain.
And sold it to you.
Yeah.
You're on stage. You can't buy it at that point, can you? Unless you get your team of researchers and acting fast. Maybe you want a team of, action takers.
Yeah.
Instant action takers.
Yeah.
I believe this, your stories are on the edge. And you've wrote 18 or 19 books of your own. 18 or 19, which is it?
19. Money Matrix just went live February.
Okay.
February 2024. So it's new. The ink is not quite dry. Yeah, so how to beat the money system and build generational wealth.
Which of all of your books are you most proud of?
There's probably 3. Money, Life Leverage, Money Matrix. So Life Leverage, because it was my breakthrough non-property book.
Right.
So I have 340 property rental units that I own. We manage in our management company 1,350. We have some big apartment blocks. One's 100 apartments in our city. And so for probably a decade, that was what I was known for, or just under.
Yeah.
And I wrote quite a few property books, multiple streams of property income, property investing secrets, cash in a property crash. And I was proud of the books because they were really how-to books. They weren't story books or memoirs or autobiographies. They were just like, this is how you invest in property. So they're very helpful and useful for people. But I felt like there's more to me than just real estate. That's just one of the things I do. And I wanted to broaden my reach and impact. And really, when I look at what am I interested in, is business. Business as I see business, which is creative commercialism. So I needed to write a breakthrough book which bridged me from being known as the property guys, myself and my business partner, to being known as like an entrepreneur, like the Dragons and people like that. So Life Leverage was my first non-property book, and that sold nearly 10,000 copies in the first day. And that was just wild. That got everyone going wild. People were fighting for me for publishing deals. My current publisher, who I've done 5 or 6 books with, they're the second biggest publisher in the world. They like chased me and courted me. Like, how have you done this? How have you got to #1 in all books? You're ranking above 50 Shades of Grey. How have you done this? And it's because I learned marketing. So I'm proud of that, and it's good content. Then money. Money was my deepest body of work. The original manuscript was 250,000 words, and I spent so much time on that. And I wanted to write a Bible about money. You know, if there's one go-to book about money, history, story, psychology, know it, make it, give it away, the whole lot. So that's probably my deepest body of work. And I think the editors for the publishers took it down from 250,000 still to over 100,000. So it's a chunky book. I don't write pamphlets like most of my competitors do. I write books. But then Money Matrix, because it's the bravest book I've ever written, because it calls out the system. But I got to the point in the book, because I use an analogy in the book of going down a rabbit hole. Because, if you look at some theories, which some label conspiracy theories, some of them are conspiracy theories, and some of them are theories. But what you find is you go down the rabbit hole, and in the end, you're like, where am I? Is this actually helping me? And you have to come back to some reality. So that's the analogy I used in the book. And as I got down the rabbit hole towards, okay, who owns the world? All right, what funds, what banks, what families own them? And you get to the families, and you think, that's kind of the end of that rabbit hole. There's no point going any deeper, because the ultimate goal of the book is for you to learn how the money system works, so you can play the banks at their own game, so you can win at money for you. So, when you were a kid, you probably played Monopoly, and probably 1 or 2 of the kids probably cheated. And I wouldn't judge you for that, because I probably did. Yeah. And the one that was easiest to cheat was the banker, because it was dealing with all the money. Yeah. So in our world now, the bankers, they have that leverage. They're dishing out the money.
It's a really good analogy, that, because everyone's played Monopoly when they were kids. And everyone's been the banker.
Yeah, everyone's been the banker. Everyone's had an advantage. Everyone's nicked a bit of money. Everyone's sort of tucked it under there. And everyone's had fights with their best mates over Monopoly. And life is like Monopoly. The banks are just the bankers. So I just basically, it's kind of an expose of the system, but it's really just uncovering how the system is really smart at making money, and what you can learn from it to make personal financial wealth. Because the banks don't help you make money. They pretend that they do. We'll give you a loan and we'll do this and we'll do that. But the banks make money from you. So you need to learn how to make money from the banks. So when there's inflation, most people lose on their money. Mm-hmm. Do you know that the banks control inflation? Well, everyone probably theoretically knows, i.e., the banks print money and they create monetary policy. But the banks can literally go, we're in 3 trillion or 30 trillion, depending on the country, of debt. We don't really want to pay this back. We'll just print 10 trillion. And they're paying off their debt, and you get penalised. You essentially get taxed when they reduce their debt. Yeah. So it's the opposite now with me, because I have a huge amount of real estate and a huge amount of bank debt. Not too much bank debt, but a huge amount. So every time the banks print money, they're paying off my mortgage for me. Whereas if I had savings, every time the banks printed money, they're stealing from my savings. So I keep 1.5 months' money in the bank. I used to keep 12 months' money in the bank, because that's what I learned from Bill Gates. But now I keep, for me, 1.5 months' money is about 50 grand, and that's it. You know, I can live for 1.5 months on 50 grand at the moment. I could halve it if there was an emergency, take my kids out of private school, sell some of my supercars, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, for me, that's a comfortable lifestyle. And it's actually, it might sound opulent. It's not opulent. I could easily spend 100 grand a month or more. I don't. I keep it down to about sort of 30, 35 grand, whatever it is. It can go up and down depending. 1.5 months money in the bank. And the rest is in gold, watches, S&P 500, FTSE 100, real estate, art, crypto, you name it. So I'm still liquid. I'm just, why? If I said to you, give me your money where you take all the risk and I get all the profit and I'll just give you a few little slim pickings, which actually is net a loss, but it looks like it's plus because you've got interest 2%. Ooh. But with inflation, it's net minus 3%. If I pitched you on that, you'd be like, nah, that's what the banks do.
Minus the pitch.
Yeah, because what they do is go, oh, this will be really good for you. We'll look after your future. Come and sit on our sofas in our bank. Come and talk to our 20-year-old who's going to advise you on how to manage your money in our bank. Do you remember that sort of full rebrand of banks? I don't know how long ago it was. But where they all went from just cold corporate hole in the wall, cashier with bulletproof glass, to sofas and consultations. And they all had refurbs. That's, I think, this is a theory. I just think they were rebranding to try and bullshit us as to what they actually do.
Ultimately, even if we follow what we're saying here and we get money, we start making money for ourselves properly, we still need the banks. The money's got to be in somewhere.
Well, yeah, that's why I said, instead of letting the banks have my money and me take all the risk and make all the profit, I borrow the money from the banks and they take all the risk and I make my profit. Now, the banks make money lending money to me, but if they lend money to me at 5% and I'm making 8%, I'm net profiting from their money.
Yeah. Smart. So, sounds like everybody's got to read the money matrix.
Well, if you want to learn how the banks play monopoly on your money and you want to become the banker and play monopoly on your money, you need to read this book. Yes. You know, we like learning from people. We have that in common. I remember reading in Richest Man in Babylon, written in 1216 AD, pay thyself first. Now, most people pay themselves last because tax, which is half, comes off, and then bills and direct debits and Sky TV and insurances and everything else, and you're left with nothing. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur and when you know how money works, you pay yourself first, and then everyone else gets paid after. And people think that their mortgage is their biggest expense, or their car loan, or their divorce. Even bigger than a divorce, even if you lose half, is tax. Tax is your biggest expense.
Is money passion or purpose for you?
So purpose is stronger than passion, because purpose is a lifelong driving force, whereas passion is a transient energy exchange.
In the moment.
In the moment. Because someone can be passionate about something, but 3 hours later you're tired and you want to go to sleep. And then the next day you wake up and you have a bit of a bad day. So passion's overrated, actually, because, by the way, passion can be a destructive force. If anyone is listening and they've had a wildly passionate relationship with another human, that can often end badly.
Yeah.
So passion has two sides, like everything has two sides. So passion is a short-term transfer of energy, which some people get from purpose. But without purpose, there is no passion. Because remember, I said, you know, if you've got no value and you feel useless, where's the energy in that? Where's the... Like, I don't know anyone who feels useless who's successful. I only know people who are successful who feel useful. So, no purpose, no meaning, no reason to live. Like, anyone listening or watching, when was the last time you sat down and you asked yourself, who am I? And what am I meant to do with my life? That's a powerful question. And if you ask that every day, within a week or a month or a year, you are going to latch onto something that you're meant to do, which you can then put the word purpose on.
Yeah.
The reason we need to be careful here is because some people like Lewis, Rory McIlroy's on TV hitting a golf ball into a washing machine, age 3. Some people have their purpose when they are 2 or 3. And some people are almost preordained with what I believe to be a gift. Other people, they can go much of their life and not know it, or they've got multiple ones. And that's probably more common. So those of you and us, because I was like that, you can change things by asking yourself every day, who am I and what am I meant to do with my life? And you'll try a few things and they won't quite click. And in the end, you'll find it. Whether you're 15, 25, 35, 45 or 55, it doesn't matter. And when you do, your life changes. So I get up at 3 o'clock, sometimes 2:30 every morning, and I work through. And I've been doing that for a long time. And everyone's always like, Rob, you get up so early, you need more sleep. And I know you could put a gun to my head and you could take all my money away. I know I am meant to help people when it comes to financial education and knowledge, and teach them to be self-sufficient and learn to love money and have a really good relationship with money. You know, I love being rich, and I want everyone to be rich. Let's say, randomly, we're going out on a date. If you're broke and I'm rich, I'm always having to pay. If we're both rich, we're going to have a nice argument over who's going to pay. So I actually benefit from you being rich. We're also going to have good conversations about money and business because you're rich, not shit on TV because we're broke and we don't have anything to do. If we're all rich, life is going to be so much better, except for the governments and central banks and the people who control the world. That's why no one knows how to be rich. Being rich is just as easy and hard as being broke, because I've been both.
You know, the great Stephen Covey, he reckons, give yourself up to 2 years. Just let it evolve. Let it grow.
Try things.
Yeah.
Especially if you're young or you don't have a massive amount of dependence, location, children, etc. But even when you've got all that, try things. A lot of people resist their own purpose because they're scared to fail. Or like, this has got to be it. You know when people say, this is my last chance. No, it's not. How old are you? 45. Well, you've got another 50 years of chances. Only your last day on this earth is your last chance. I'd still probably get up at 3 a.m. and smash out a day of work before 8 a.m.
And yet, some of the most driven, successful people on the planet are driven by self-doubt. Fear of failure it can be used positively.
Well, it's a human trait. So most people are looking to avoid self-doubt. Self-doubt is a necessary human trait. If you were in the jungle alone and you thought there's probably lions around here, would self-doubt help? F***ing damn right it would. Could I outrun this thing? Should I be careful? You would need self-doubt. If you're starting a business and someone's lent you £1 million, would self-doubt be useful? Damn right it would, because you wouldn't want to go and do anything stupid. So all these emotions, that all emotions are feedback to the environment. How we choose to respond to those emotions then becomes a conscious thing. So actually, shame and guilt are brilliant motivators. You know, losses are brilliant experiences to win next time. But so many people are looking, I just want to be happy, I just want to feel happy, I don't like these painful emotions, I want to get rid of them. And they're denying the fact that they're a natural emotion.
It's pretty well documented, isn't it, among researchers, that pain and dissatisfaction is the biggest catalyst for change.
Yeah, it is. So if that's pretty well documented, why do most people avoid it and not know it? Because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And then there's all this wokey left and all these people saying, well, just, you know, it's just about feeling good and being happy. And, oh, you came 8th, you get a trophy too. You know, let's everyone just feel good. Don't hurt that person. Don't call that person fat. You know, and all that is doing is numbing us down and avoiding the reality. I was the fattest kid in my year at school, and the moments that got me to change were where people who I thought were friends behind my back were calling me a fat That's all I remember. I remember being in the showers, because back then you had group showers, everyone showered at the same time, and I remember them laughing at me. I don't remember all the times they were nice to me or said, yeah, hey, Rob, you're the captain of rugby, well done, and, you know, you're good at sport, and look at all your good grades, and you're top of the averages in cricket. They probably did say that to me. Don't remember any of it. Remember those painful moments. And I begged my mum and dad to let me leave that school, and I starved myself for the 8 or 10 weeks of summer holidays, and I went to the new school, a skinny kid. So I'm really thankful for the people who call me a fat f***, because that helped me, really helped me. And people don't realise the power in that, because people are always trying to avoid that pain. Like, when you're lucky enough to go through that, there's a saying, never waste a good crisis, which means when you're lucky enough to go through a load of shit, because that's when you really learn. I interview a lot of people who get cancelled. I'm interviewing Dan Wootton a bit later on today, who's the big GB News guy. And fuck me, well, he would have learned so much now, having gone through it. And I know a lot of famous people. I know a lot of famous people who are puppet strung by mainstream media and earning an all right wage. And I say to them all, just start your own channel. Be decentralised like I have. And that they can't do it, they can't do it, they can't do it. And they finally do it when they get cancelled. So pain is such a great motivator. If you can leverage pain...
But that pain has forced them to do it then.
Yeah, because the reason the pain has forced them to do it is because pain is painful and everyone wants to run away from pain. So there's two ways to run away from pain. Number one is to avoid it and do nothing and be comfortable. Or number two is to go straight into it like a fucking lion with your chest out, or a gorilla, and go, right, pain, what do we need to do? I don't like how this feels. I want to get through it. That's the two ways. There's only two ways. Run away from it, run through it. I've found that running through it is quicker, because running away from it is temporarily quicker, but it doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't.
It just keeps manifesting.
The analogy of someone scared of spiders springs to mind. You know what?
Put one in your hand. It's the only way.
The only way is hold a tarantula.
Yeah.
The biggest spider that you could possibly find. Hold it.
I'm scared of spiders. I'm not doing that. I'm running away from that.
You could but you could do that on one of your social media posts.
Could do.
Yeah. Well, you could do. Yeah.
Yeah. Could do. Don't need to. That's not going to make me any money.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep avoiding that one.
Yeah.
Facing your fears and overcoming them can be good for other and future fears that you'll face, because you can become good at overcoming fears. So I can see why putting a spider or a snake in your hand when you're scared of them, or jumping out of an aeroplane and, you know, having your tandem parachute jump or a bungee jump. Practicing facing fears and overcoming them gets good. You can get better at that. You can do all that like a junkie for adrenaline, but when you start a business, that's a different kind of feeling. You know, when you want to be an entrepreneur and make money, that's a different kind of feeling. I know plenty of adrenaline junkies who have overcome all their sort of fears in the outer world, but are petrified to start a business. Ultimately, the best tip I can give for starting a business and become a coach or an entrepreneur or to make a millionaire is, there was a book that was written called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Yeah, I've read it.
Very good book.
It's a Japanese book?
Yeah. So it's slightly awkward but creative in the way that it's written. And that
it's Adler psychology.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And it's a conversation. I mean, it is incredible.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a quirky approach, which makes it creative. But essentially, if you can face and move through people criticizing you, rejecting you, trolling you, trying to put you down, and just keep moving forward towards your goal, I think that's if you had a gun to my head and you're like, Rob, what's the one thing? It's that. Unless you are on the opposite end of the spectrum, whereby you were raised with so much love, or you're slightly on the psychopathic part of the spectrum where you have no sense of pissing people off or upsetting people, and you just spend your life pissing people off. But that's a much smaller minority of the population compared to the people who are worried about criticism, because it goes back to our natural survival instinct of not wanting to be kicked out of the tribe. So that's probably the single best thing you can do.
I interviewed a lad from the Northwest called Liam Harrison, who's 8-time world champion in Muay Thai.
Yeah, know of him, yeah.
Yeah. And I asked him, how do you handle the critics? And he said this. He was really powerful, he goes, the fire always comes from underneath. It never comes from above. And when you realise the fire is always coming from underneath, it doesn't matter. The people above you, they'll never criticise. They'll never give you it. They're not bothered. And he says, that's how I deal with it every day.
We let our fear of what other people think about us move us off our path, not do something, dilute something, you change how we do something, when ultimately that was where we wanted to go. And I think if you look at anyone who's really successful and at the top of their game, they've had that courage. So, let's look at Ed Sheeran. So I watched a great documentary on him, and he went to the school that he went to, but back as a successful guy. And he gave a brilliant bit of advice. And he sat down in his old school class with his old teacher and the new students, and he said, look, if you want to write a good song, you've got to write a lot of shit songs. So he had the courage to write a lot of shit songs. Because writing a shit song is scary, but you can't write a good song until you've written a lot of shit songs. And I think that that's just a really good attitude. It's like, I'm where I'm at. I know I'll get better, but I'm prepared to not be perfect or even be shit. I've got 340 rental units. The first one I bought was a piece of shit. And you want to be shit at the start, because if you're still shit 10 years later, something's wrong. Every time you try something for the first time,
just get started.
Yeah.
Just get started.
I wrote a book called Start Now, Get Perfect Later. That's a good motto.
How have you got these industry leaders onto all of your podcasts? How have you done all
that? Well, I've had my podcast Disruptors for 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm obviously doing pretty well myself. That helps. I put myself out there a lot. I'm relentless in reaching out to people. Try and get, I've got a hit list of probably 10,000 names I'm trying to get on my show.
Who are your top three?
Donald Trump would be right up there, for sure. I've had Andrew Tate. He would have been in top three, probably. I got Floyd Mayweather really at the height of his game. I got Maisie Williams, Game of Thrones biggest actress, in the finale when she was at her height. Jordan Peterson when he was at the height. So I've timed it well. But yeah, probably Donald Trump. Vladimir Putin. I'll tell you where this comes from. I want to interview really interesting people. Not safe people, not boring people, not comfortable people. Now, usually really interesting people are polarizing. Yeah. i.e. people love them and people hate them. I'm not particularly a massive fan, per se, of... I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm a big fan of his. Yeah. But I would get 1/100th of the views than if I interviewed Vladimir Putin or Donald Trump. So I'm thinking about who are interesting, fascinating people, removing all the judgment. And then, I tell you I'd love to interview, but she won't, ever. And I've tried a load of times. Denise Cs, billionaires who runs these gambling firms, because I would love to lay into her about what she's doing is just so wrong for the world. And I'd love to be open to a debate where she could prove me wrong, and I would listen to her. Yeah. And I have total respect for anyone who's become a billionaire, even though it was, she worked for her dad, but I don't care about that. But for me, gambling firms who are paying influential people to promote gambling, I think it's fundamentally really wrong. And I watch all these Sky pundits and all these footballers. I love the dynamic between Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. Yeah. But they are whores to gambling firms. Really fucking wrong. Because I interviewed Paul Merson and he said gambling is just the worst addiction. It is far worse than drugs. And he knows because he was that as well. So I'd love to interview a billionaire gambling magnate, and I'd love to have the debate, and I'd love to put my side across. Say, couldn't you do it a different way? Couldn't we set up a school together? Couldn't we teach the world how to be wealthy instead of luring them in with the free bet and then getting them addicted? Okay, I'll gamble responsibly. Wow. They're only doing that because they legally have to do that. So I'd love to interview her. She's a smart woman. She's not going to come on a show and have me... Well, maybe she is. Denise. If anyone knows Denise Coates, I'm in. Or any billionaire in gambling. And I will be open-minded.
I'm guessing there's going to be plenty of billionaires in gambling as well.
Well, yeah.
Because Donald Trump, kind of.
They consume.
Donald Trump, kind of, yeah. He's got...
Now, look, I like casinos, right? They make money out of people. I still respect the fact that they're clever with their business model. And I respect the fact that Denise Coates has been... She's a smart entrepreneuress, don't get me wrong. Not easy to be a billionaire-ess as well. But I just think the product is fundamentally at the core wrong. And it's not doing good for the world. It's doing good for the shareholders. And there is a way where we can do good for the world and the shareholders, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, you've really made it happen, and you persisted, and you've let's get Denise quotes on. Let's all watch that.
Yeah, and like I said, I will be open. I'm happy to challenge someone, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy to give someone a fair shot. I mean, she doesn't need to come on my show. She's already a billionaire-ess. If she said to me at the end, "Hey Rob, you know this bit and this bit, could we edit it out?" I would. I'm not Piers Morgan. I'm not trying to trick everyone all the time. I just wanted to debate.
What's the craziest thing you've ever had to edit out without naming a person?
Oh, well, just one guy absolutely lost his shit on me, got really angry with me, started shouting at me because basically, if I say it, I kind of reveal it. He said to me, like, he basically started shouting at me. He was like, "I don't want that in the show. You'll edit it out. Promise me you'll edit that out." And I said, "I promise." And so I stuck to my word, even though publishing that would have gone wildly viral, and he looked like a real idiot. But I gave him my word, and I'm not breaking my word, so I didn't publish it. And if I say what the product is, you'd probably be able to find out who he is, and so then I'm probably going to make him look bad, and I don't need to do that.
Yeah, fine. Who's helped you the most? Who have been your 3 biggest trusted advisors in your life?
So let's stick to business and money as opposed to life. I would say my business partner, Mark Homer. We've been in business 17 years, and he was ahead of me when we started. And
why did you choose him?
Because he was ahead of me.
Right.
And he knew property, and he had some money. Or maybe he chose me.
Because you had
hunger, drive, passion, desperation, relentlessness. By the way, desperation in the right context is power. It's not in the wrong. Probably dating is probably not good. I'm not a dating coach, but wanting to turn your life around, being desperate to turn your life around, what a powerful emotion to leverage. Yeah, so he had resources, I had resourcefulness. So he helped me. The first personal development guru that opened me up from being basically a victim to taking responsibility, which is the big shift you make, was Tony Robbins.
When was
Get the Edge and Personal Power, the 8 CDs that I listened to.
Still got
hey, it's Tony! So he was the switch. Anyone who's in personal development, that's a phrase that's generic, but anyone who's in it, I want to be better and I take responsibility, not I'm a victim and it's everyone else's fault. Everyone's had a seminal moment where they've shifted. Sometimes, for many, it's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, or my book Money, or Think and Grow Rich. But for me, it was Tony Robbins and those set of CDs. So that would be the second one. I mean, I've had lots of mentors. James Caan, a billionaire, property guy. I've interviewed, I think, 21 billionaires now. I always go, I want to go to the best. Like, if what's stopping you is money, you need to expand your thinking. Money is a tool. If you, I want to put these pictures up, but I don't have a hammer. Oh, well, I resigned to never having pictures up on the wall in my life. You would never say that. You'd get someone else to do it. You'd find the hammer. Money is a tool. Oh, I can't go on this personal development course. Oh, I can't afford this mentor. You resign yourself to this for life, when in reality, you just need to be resourceful.
How much have you invested in your mentors?
Oh, in the millions.
In your own personal development?
Yeah. In the millions, for sure. Done many courses, masterminds, mentors. Yeah, easy. I mean, I've been doing it for 17 years. It was progressive. It wasn't all at once.
The first action you said earlier on that people should take is, for 95% of people, or recommendation, the courage to be disliked. What's the first action people should do with the business, having listened to this?
Anything that gets you mobilized. Go buy a domain name. Go do a Facebook Live. Write 3 pages of your book. Anything that gets you mobilized. Now, I want to talk about the difference between mobilization and active procrastination, which I wrote a book called Start Now, Get Perfect Later, where basically that's a time and life management book. So mobilization is anything that moves towards launching your business or making money, sales, marketing, etc. Active procrastination is, I'm researching which membership site I need to set up on. Is it Kajabi or is it Patreon or is it wow? Or I'm just getting my branding done. I'm doing a mood board. I'm just researching SEO and how to rank on Google. You're convincing yourself that's work. That's not. That's distraction. That's procrastination. So in terms of what people should start, anything that's mobilizing as opposed to active procrastination.
So what's more important for you, fame or fortune?
I'd take fortune and no fame any day of the week. Nowadays, though, and in what I do, they come hand in hand and you can't separate them. One thing I am proud about what I do is I'm not A-list famous, I'm B-list, but still pretty good. But I'm not famous for famous sake. Of those that know me, I'm known for something useful, which gives me a sense of self-worth. I don't want to be famous for the sake of it. I want to be known for something useful.
My favourite bit of this interview is your level of conviction and intensity. And I've not met you before. Of course, I've known of you for years, and people that I've worked with, I've actually recommended they go on some of your training courses and stuff like that. They've come back, saying all amazing things. So I've known about you, and I've seen your social presence. Yet that level of directness, I've really liked it today.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, clarity is power.
Why?
Well, how do you feel when someone is confused? Confused. If they doubt themselves, so do you. Like, why should anyone believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? Why is anyone going to invest in you if you don't invest in yourself? So my conviction, to use your words, comes from my clarity. And so therefore my energy and power and passion and whatever else words might be used come from clarity. My mission is to help as many people on this planet get better financial knowledge. I am so clear on that the only thing that can move me away from that is my own death. The only thing. I'd go to prison like Tate did for 30 or 90 days if I had to reach 1 billion people. I even said that to him when we conversed over this. I'd rather not, but I would. And I think about, would I get cancelled and go through the wilderness and have some personal issues like a lot of these people do if it made me bigger than all of them? I would. I don't want to, but I would, because I'm clear on my mission. And my mission gives me a great sense of self-worth, so it's necessary for my own self-actualization.
What's been your favourite part of the discussion?
Meeting you and opening new doors that will definitely open from this. I love talking about personal development and other people who know the world. That's really exciting. Opportunity excites me. I've been asked a zillion questions a zillion times. But the thought of maybe we'll do some work together, maybe we'll collaborate, maybe I'll introduce you to someone which will make a difference in your life, or you will do for me. Yeah. That's the exciting thing about this. This is why I do interviews and why I do podcasts. Yeah, I get to promote myself and more people see me and they might buy Money Matrix and they might listen to Disruptors. But it's about opportunity. Like, for me, excitement is the thought that tomorrow could offer me something bigger and better and different than today. The opposite of that is thinking that every day is exactly the same.
Rob Moore, on behalf of everybody,
thank you very much,
sir.
Thank you very much.
If you like what you hear on the BizX podcast, then join us at the BizX conference, bringing you more of what you love, live on stage and helping you step up in both business and life. Just click down here for more information.